Hello and welcome to one and all. So in today's class, I'm continuing with the indicators of economic development. So we are dealing with the 10th index, that is the multi-dimensional poverty index. I already explained to you in so many angles a person or a household is poor. So this is measured based on the deprivation experienced by the poorer individuals or the households. So we have in this category, we have already finished uh, health and education. So these two we already finished. I finished in the previous class. Health is measured regarding the what are the deprivation faced by the household, experienced by the household in child mortality and nutrition. And as far as education is concerned, years of schooling and how many children are enrolled in the school in that particular household. Based on that, the deprivation is calculated. Okay. Now moving on to the, so this is the first category. So second, health, education. And the third category here is standard of living. So for the standard of living, the indices or the parameters used to measure to identify the deprivation experienced by the household is, the first one under that is cooking fuel, or in other words, access to and improved cooking oil. So in this category, a household is considered to be deprived of that accessibility to improved cooking oil if the household is cooking with the using dung, wood, or charcoal. Okay, so if they have to use that kind of cooking method, then that household is considered to be deprived of cooking fuel. So that is deprived if the household cooks with dung instead of the proper cooking methods used, they have to use the outdated process using dung, wood, or charcoal. These are all the traditional methods of cooking, isn't it? So if they are still, since they cannot afford the modern methods, they are still using the old same traditional style of cooking. So if they are still forced to use that kind of cooking methods, then they are deprived of the modern facilities. So in that case, they don't have the accessibility to improved cooking oil. Then, or the cooking, whatever the cooking method, the fuel which is used for cooking. Then the next parameter in this is regarding the sanitation. What is the sanitation facilities enjoyed by the household? So if it is, they are considered to be deprived if the sanitation standards are not according to the Millennium Development Goals put forth by the United Nations, or if they are having that sanitation facilities also, it is not exclusively for the one household. They have to share it with the other neighbors and all. So if they are having that kind of sanitation facility, then they are deprived of proper sanitation facilities. So let me put it in words. It is considered deprived if the households sanitation facility is either not improved. So not improved, as I mentioned, according to United Nations Millennium Development Goals, or if it is shared with, so even though they are having the proper sanitation facilities, still they have to share it with the other households or neighbors, or worst scenario, or both. So if this is the kind of sanitation facility a particular household is having, then they are not having the proper accessibility to sanitation. So they're deprived of that proper sanitation facility. Okay. Then the next important parameter here is, in this here is the, in standard of living, the third one is drinking water. To what extent the household is having the accessibility to proper drinking water. So drinking water, basically the household is considered deprived if not having access to improved drinking water, or even if they are having the accessibility, they have to, it is not available in their house, they have to make a round trip of 30 minutes round trip from their house. They have to walk for 30 minutes and get the water. So total round trip takes 30 minutes for them. So if that is the kind of accessibility they are having, then it is considered that they are deprived of the proper accessibility to proper drinking water. So deprived if not having access to improved drinking water, or if it is more than 30 minutes or more, 30-minute walk from home, that is round trip. So put it very simply, they have to fetch water from a far off place, which takes at least a minimum of 30 minutes to and fro. So if that is the kind of drinking water facility they are having, then they are deprived of the accessibility to proper drinking water in their household. Okay. Then the next index here is electricity. I think you can understand that these are all some of the common basic needs required by each and every household. And if they are not getting these kind of proper basic needs, then they're deprived of all these basic facilities. So they are, in all these angles, they are considered to be poor. That's why it is called as the multi-dimensional poverty index. So this is very clear. If the household is deprived of proper accessibility to electricity. So they're deprived if the household has no electricity connection, or electricity connection is not totally there, it's not totally deprived of that. Okay. Then the next one is the housing. What kind of housing facility there are? The house is made of with what materials, whether it is the proper construction materials, or if they are made of mud or any rudimentary materials. So if that is the kind of house they are staying, then they are considered to be deprived of the proper housing facilities. So whatever the roof, walls of the house, the roof of the house, as well as the floor of the house, with in what material that house is constructed. So based on that, you are identifying whether they are deprived of the proper housing standardized materials. So put it in words. So household is considered deprived if the house. So if the house, that means roof, walls, and floor are not made with proper standard materials. For example, it's made with mud. So if they are having that kind of housing facility, then they are deprived of the accessibility to proper housing facility. Okay. So these are all the some of the indices under the standard of living. Okay. The next one is the, what about the The fourth one, possession of some assets. So what are all the kind of assets possessed by the household? So this is, a household is considered deprived if the household, possession of some assets. So deprived if the household does not own more than one of the following assets. So some of the assets are identified, and if the household is not owning more than one of these following assets, they are considered to be deprived of this possession of assets. So what are all the assets that are included in this category? Is first one, radio. In olden days, radio was very common. I don't know, the current generation might not be knowing about it. It's one of the favorite pastime in the olden days. Then of course, TV, then telephone, computer. You can understand that once upon a time, these are all considered as luxury, but then nowadays they all come under the category of necessity. So if a household is not owning, then they are deprived of that luxurious necessities. You can term it like that. Bicycle, motorbike, refrigerator, and also does not own a car or truck. Maybe this car, truck, even for that matter, bicycle, motorbike, computer, they all might not come under the very, very basic needs. But then you can, the extent of poverty experienced by each and every household can be identified from this. So that means if a household is having all the other facilities, that is whatever the parameters required for health, to maintain the proper health, accessibility to proper living standards, accessibility to education, but they are not owning, maybe for example, they are not owning car or truck. So they are slightly better off compared to a household. There are other household who are not owning even the proper sanitation facilities, not having the proper accessibility to drinking water, isn't it? So based on this, to what extent a household or an individual is poor in a particular country, and how much percentage of the people are falling in each and every category in a particular country, and based on that, which country is having the maximum amount of household that are so poor, multidimensionally poor. So all those data can be gathered based on this information. So this simply measures the depth, or in what are all the angles a person or a household is poor. Okay, so I think that's what poverty is. Not like, you cannot measure in terms of the calorie intake, and it varies from one person, a person having all the other requirements just now I have explained to you, except this, the last one. So these kind of assets are not there in the household, but all the other, drinking water, education, all those things they are having. Compared to the other household, we are not even having that basic necessities. Then they don't have proper housing. So that means what, they are even deprived. So you can categorize, group the people according to their deprivations. And if you know the percentage of the poor in each and every category, the country can take proper measures to uplift them from poverty. So in order to do that, first we have to identify to what extent a household is poor. Okay, so for that we have to know the this concept was introduced by the United Nations, that is a multi-dimensional poverty index. Okay, this is anyway the next indicator of economic development. Then continuing with the indicators, the 11th one, economic growth. So this already dealt in the beginning. What is the meaning of economic growth? So this is basically measures the rise in national income, per capita income, or in other words, it includes the rise in the beginning. I mentioned to you, it is like the marks obtained by the student. This is one of the very, very useful information indicator to know about the progress of a country. So either it is GDP, GNP, and also GNP and GDP per capita. Either it is, in other words, either it is the national income or it is the per capita income. So that is, anyway, without any doubt, this is one of the most important indicators to know about the growth of any particular country. And then the last one, what we are having, the gross national happiness index. That is GNI. So this gross national happiness index, so this one was introduced by Bhutan in 1970. So they are more concerned with preserving the environment and basically feeling happiness, the well-being of the people, than the economic or the national income or the per capita income, like that. Okay, so basically this one, gross national happiness index, it measures economic combined with moral progress, or in other words, in what way the country should develop. It is not only greedily keep on increasing the national income of a country by whatever means, methods. In short, by polluting the environment. So that's why the moral thing is included here. So the people of Bhutan, the country, they prefer more amount of greenery around them than having more amount of industries. So that is the way they want to develop. So that gives a certain amount of happiness or well-being for the country. So 4 indicators are used in this. First one is the good governance. Second one, sustainable development. That is the explained to you, sustainable development, preserving the quality of the environment for the future generation also. So sustainable development, preservation and promotion of culture. Hope now you can understand why it is the moral thing is included here. Preservation and promotion of culture, and most importantly, environmental conservation. So these are all the 4 indicators used to measure the gross national happiness index. So this is more, they are thinking that if the way in which the country should develop should promote the well-being or the happiness and the health and the quality of environment of a country. It is not that blindly following, blindly pursuing the rise in national income, blindly pursuing the rise in industrial output, etc. So the way in which the country should develop also matters. So that's what, more than national income or GDP, just now is a GDP or GNP per capita, they want to give more importance to the happiness and the well-being of the people. Okay, so anyway, these are all the indicators of economic development. And the next topic here is the factors hindering economic development, which I'll continue in my next class. Okay, so if you have any doubts in this video, in this class, in indicators, please don't fail to mention in the comment box. And if you like this video, if you find this video useful, please like, share, and subscribe. And until my next class and next video, take care. Bye-bye.